Good afternoon. The mayor has launched the city's 2026 Summer Safety Plan.
It includes a $5 million investment as part of the city's budget for this year in youth violence prevention programs. CTV's Mike Walker has been following this story. He joins us live now with all the details. Mike.
Well, Michelle, this initiative, which is designed to prevent youth violence through a wide range of programs, was first introduced last year, and the city is looking to build on that success, reaching even more young people this summer. Now, the city has set aside $5 million in the budget for youth violence prevention programs that include mental health supports, training, and employment opportunities. Through this initiative, thousands of young people will have access to more than 200 programs across the city. Last year, 15,000 youth participated in the program. Today, the mayor and police chief touting the success of this program that they say contributed to a 40% reduction in gun violence. Here's more.
5,000 young people will receive mental health support because we know it's hard. And we will support over 500 families, parents, caregivers with violence prevention programs and workshops. Our goal is simple: to connect Toronto's young people and families to opportunities that help make sure the summer is a fun time, is safe, is vibrant, is positive, and it's time to just really let loose and enjoy, but in a safe environment.
Reducing crime requires prevention, and prevention can take many, many forms. Sometimes it means taking extra precautions to deter certain crimes, and sometimes it's about building trust and strengthening our communities. The Summer Safety Plan provides alternative opportunities for at-risk youth. It empowers families, and it takes proactive measures to prevent harm through the lens of community safety and well-being.
This year, the city is launching a new online search tool to make it easier for youth and their families find programs and support services in their neighborhood. We'll have more on the story tonight on CTV News at 5 and 6. Reporting live at City Hall, I'm Mike Walker. Nathan, back to you.
All right. Thank you, Mike. A 15-year-old boy was sent to hospital following a shooting near Victoria Park in Finch last night. Police were called for reports of a shooting around 10 last night. They say the victim made his own way to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Police have not provided details about any suspects, and they're asking anyone with information to come forward.
No injuries have been reported following a fire at a home under construction in Mississauga. The flames breaking out on Italia Crescent near Central Parkway and Confederation Parkway. No one was inside the home at the time. The cause of this fire has yet to be determined.
And fire crews have managed to put out a massive blaze at a scrapyard in Brampton. The fire was first reported around 4:30 yesterday afternoon at a yard on Intermodal Drive near Gorway and the 407. Nobody was hurt, and the cause is still under investigation. TTC service has been disrupted along King Street West after a truck collided with a bridge.
Now there are concerns the disruption could last all day as repairs are carried out. CP24's Melissa Duggan has been following this story. She joins us live now with the latest. What's happening there, Melissa?
Michelle, some progress to tell you about. The 504 streetcar westbound now rolling eastbound, still at a standstill, and here's why. Repair work is still being done to the streetcar power lines overhead. This at King and Atlantic, a truck hitting the bridge here, interrupting that power service to streetcars. This happening during the 8 o'clock hour this morning. This means workers now on scene attending to this disruption. Initially, streetcar service was interrupted in both directions. Again, westbound now rolling, but streetcars, as we're seeing, or rather shuttle buses, as we're seeing right now, going through here, still going eastbound between Shaw and Roncesvalles. And this could be stretching possibly throughout the rest of the day, maybe through until tomorrow morning. We're waiting for the latest update from TTC on exactly that timeline. But here's more of what we're hearing from the TTC, Stuart Green.
We have that overhead piece of infrastructure right at King and Atlantic, and it's the very wide train bridge that goes above. So a truck has hit that overhead and it's pulled it down. So our crews are in there now. They're looking and they're making assessments as to the extent of the damage and how long it could take to repair. Right now, we don't have a timeline, but this could last throughout the day. So we've had to suspend the 504 King service. So if you take the 504 King between Strawn and Roncesvalles, it's diverting up to Queen. We do have replacement buses running in between, but give yourself some extra time if you're traveling through that area.
No injuries to tell you about here. We were talking with Toronto police. They're telling us that the driver of the truck involved in this collision did remain at the scene. Traffic services also on scene investigating this. No injuries to tell you about. And it appears that there's no structural damage to this bridge. Repair work still underway at this point. I'm Melissa Duggan at Atlantic and King reporting live. Back to you.
Thank you, Melissa. Still to come, the White House is threatening new tariffs against 60 countries, including Canada. We'll have those details a little later in the newscast. But first, drivers are feeling more pain at the pumps again after a recent drop in prices.
The price at the pumps rose 8 cents a liter overnight, renewing concerns about the possibility of hitting $2 a liter this summer. CTV's Janice Golding has been speaking with drivers and joins us live now with reaction. Janice.
Hi, Nathan. People are certainly feeling the pinch at the pumps right now, especially after a break in recent days. This was coming very unwelcome news. Now, gas analysts had been predicting that gas prices would rise by 8 cents this afternoon or evening, eventually hitting 177.9 cents per liter. And Canadians for Affordable Energy says prices could rise another 2 to 3 cents per liter tomorrow. The group says all of this volatility is attributable to the war in the Middle East, saying every time there's a talk of a deal overseas, prices drop, and then when things collapse, prices bounce back up. With shipping traffic along the Strait of Hormuz stalled, oil exports from Persian Gulf states are being prevented, and that means the world is rapidly draining reserve supplies of oil. Here is how people are reacting.
Not happy at all. I have a fleet of vehicles and it's costing me a lot of extra money. It depends on the month, but we're up $4,000 or $5,000 a month. So it's quite a bit. Well, I'm upset about it. My customers are paying for it partially, but it's the way of the world. What can I do?
It's honestly a lot right now. Seeing that a lot more things are really expensive, so it's kind of hard for us to buy gas, so I may just be walking this entire summer.
Not only have we seen a lot of vessels not be able to get through that choke point around the world, we are draining strategic reserves, emergency reserves to levels that we haven't seen in a long time. It's going to take a long time for that to be replenished under law. It's also going to require a little bit more patience from everyone to recognize that it's not just gasoline, it's jet fuel, it's diesel. The world is short about 1.6 billion barrels of oil. And sooner or later, that's going to have to start to show up even here in North American markets.
Now, Damigtag says he expects the volatility of the market to continue through the summer, saying that he predicts we are in for some very difficult times ahead. Reporting live, I'm Janice Golding. Now back to Nathan.
Thank you, Janice. A transit safety plan announced by the mayor last week is going before the TTC board today. The plan calls for barriers to be installed at TMU station. It also includes the use of an AI-assisted warning system, which uses cameras to detect when someone is on the tracks. A TTC report says the two measures offer a lower cost, faster to implement option than full platform edge doors. TTC Chair Jamal Myers spoke ahead of the meeting.
On-time subway performance is at 90.2% above target. Total delay time is down 8% year over year. Equipment failures dropped by over 600 minutes compared to last fall, and assault-related delays dropped by 160 minutes since November. And as part of the motion that I passed with Mayor Chow, the streetcars are running faster with enhanced signal transit priority.
The board will also discuss other safety recommendations, including increasing staff visibility in stations. There was a show of solidarity at the ETFO provincial office this morning.
Union leaders representing Ontario's teachers and education workers provided an update on collective bargaining. CTV's Queen's Park Bureau Chief Siobhan Morris joins us live now with the details on how things are going. Siobhan.
Well, Michelle, this is the start of the formal process to get teachers to a new contract. The current one expires at the end of August. Yesterday, the education minister says he expects that these negotiations will be tough, but he is optimistic that a deal can be reached by Labor Day. We did hear from those education unions this morning about where they'd like to move the ball. They'd like to see more investments in special education. Boards have been really struggling on that front as student needs get more and more complex. ETFO is calling for a cap on class sizes. At the high school level, there's a push to do away with mandatory e-learning. We are still very far away from any pinch point in the negotiations, but educators today did leave the door open to job action if they aren't able to resolve these issues.
Our members are desperate to see significant investments and changes. And they know that 4 years or 3 years, whatever the length of this term might be, we cannot wait for those investments to happen. So our members, I know, are prepared. In fact, all of the all-member meetings I've been attending around the province that I do with my colleagues, our members are pushing us for action, pushing us for getting to the table, pushing us to get this government to be serious. So they're ready. They know what's at stake here. They can't wait for 3 more years.
The next step here is to set up some bargaining dates. That has to happen sometime in the next 15 days or so. The education unions we heard from this morning say they aren't worried about a compressed timeline to reach a deal. What they're more concerned about is having a willing partner across the negotiating table. Reporting live, I'm Siobhan Morris. Michelle, back to you.
Thank you, Siobhan. Meanwhile, OPSEU hosted a rally today outside the office of OPSEU, a company involved in administering Ontario workers, the Ontario Disability Support Program, and the Ontario Autism Program. The demonstrators rallied outside the office before marching to the office of the Ontario Ministry of Labour. The public action comes following a report calling attention to how more public money is heading to private companies that administer Ontario government services. As CTV's John Woodward tells us, the report claims the province is now paying the agencies at least $1 billion a year.
Community services are worth fighting for!
Worth fighting for, the name of a job action by about 4,000 unionized community and social workers in Ontario, now in its 2nd week. This picket outside of Surrey Place, a provider of autism therapy in North York.
Funding to developmental sector has definitely gone down. We've had ourselves over 50 layoffs in the last 2 years. Our wait lists have gotten longer and longer.
The picketers' primary concern is about restoring government funding to public agencies, although there is also a lot of scrutiny about government funding private agencies. Public sector union OPSEU releasing a report that claims the funding to private companies who administer public services like autism supports has ballooned in recent years, saying payments sent to ASERTA, a company involved in administering Ontario Works, Ontario Disability Support Program, and the Ontario Autism Program, had more than tripled from $202 million in 2019 to $672 million in 2025. Payments sent to WCG, a company managing the service system for Employment Ontario, went up more than 6 times, from $36 million in 2021 to $225 million in 2025. All told, the top 3 private administrators reached $1 billion in payments last year, the report says, and once the money crosses into the private sector, it's more difficult to track, says OPSEU head J.P. Hornick.
And that is a waste of money. When you look at this, all we know is that this is provincial transfer payments that are deposited with for-profit entities, and then the public loses our ability to actually follow that money.
Of several service providers we reached out to, the company Serco got back to us saying it employs 11,000 Canadians, and we are proud to work within the direction and guidelines provided to us by the Ontario government in service of its citizens. Opposition parties not sure the benefits are worth the cost.
The more we privatize things, the more we pay for it, and the less service we get.
This group calling for more of the funds to go to core services, like the ones employing these striking workers. John Woodward, CTV News.
Mississauga City Councillor Deepika Damerla announced her bid to become that city's next mayor.
It all begins for me with respect for the taxpayer. Property taxes in Mississauga have gone up 30%. Now, just to put that into context, that's about the same as the rate at which housing prices have gone up. So property taxes have actually gone up a titch more than housing prices. But it feels like, the leadership at the city just hasn't been able to internalize that, hasn't been able to empathize that, this is a real problem, that people are really struggling to pay taxes.
Daimler made the announcement on News Talk 1010 this morning. She currently serves as councillor for Mississauga's Ward 7. Daimler also served as a Liberal MPP in the riding of Mississauga East Cooksville from 2011 to 2018. Voters in Mississauga will head to the polls on October 26th.
Time for a live look at the city this afternoon, and would you look at that? Nature has turned up the heat, and it is full throttle on the sunshine. We continue this epic stretch of beautiful summer-like weather. Lindsay Morrison is here with all the details, and definitely going to feel hot out there today.
Oh, it is looking and feeling like summer out there today. Michelle, already quite warm. In fact, look at these temperatures. It is 27 degrees right now at Pearson Airport. Already, we've got several hours of daytime heating to go, so I do think it's possible that some communities are going to reach that 30-degree threshold before the afternoon is finished. You will find it a little cooler along the shoreline of Lake Huron and Georgian Bay today, thanks to winds out of the northwest. They're not particularly strong. We, on the other hand, though, are tapping into more of a southerly flow today, hence the increase in heat on the satellite and radar. It is another blue sky day. It's just the kind of week it's been. In fact, it's been longer than that. It's been about 9 days that we've had brilliant sunshine. Here's today at a glance. 29 is our forecast daytime high, above seasonal, and once again, we're at an 8 on the UV index. Coming up, we'll talk about our next chance of rain. It is coming. All of those details in your weekend weather forecast are ahead. For now, Michelle, back over to you.
I forgot about rain. Thank you, Lindsay. It's been a while. We turn now to the latest in the Canada-U.S. trade war, with the Trump administration threatening new tariffs. The U.S. proposing new levies on 60 countries, including Canada, over concerns about forced labor. Canada, Mexico, Taiwan, and the UK are among the nations that could face an additional 10% tariff. The Trump administration says it's trying to level the playing field for American workers. CTV's Rachel Aiello has been following this latest development. She joins us live now from Ottawa. Rachel, here we go again. What more can you tell us about this latest tariff threat and, of course, the response from our Prime Minister?
Yeah, good afternoon, Michelle. So what we are getting from the U.S. administration is a threat to level this 10% tariff on Canada and a host of other countries for what the U.S. is saying is the inability to prevent the import of goods that are made with forced labor. Now, the Canadian government has been pretty quick to push back on this, to respond to it. Prime Minister Mark Carney came out quite early this morning giving his answer. Here's a bit of what he had to say.
This is not a surprise. It's something that the U.S. has been planning for a few months. I think very importantly is that two things. One is that the tariffs are consulted for 30 days or 30-plus days. Secondly, explicitly in the decision, Canada, the carve-out for CUSMA is referenced and maintained. So that puts us in a position where, again, we would still have the best trade deal of any of the U.S. trade counterparts. I want to say as well that the issue, the motivation of the U.S. action, the 301 tariffs against, or proposed tariffs against a variety of countries, is something that we share.
So 3 big points coming out of what Carney said there. One, that this is not going to be in effect for some time. Of course, this is a threat of a tariff. There's going to be a public hearing July 7th, and then from there it would be about 30 days before it's imposed. 2, the fact that there is a CUSMA exemption built into this proposed tariff. So any Canadian goods that are CUSMA compliant wouldn't face this 10%. And lastly, that indication that the Canadian government is going to be doing something to respond to this, specifically legislation that the Prime Minister says will be coming in the House of Commons before they rise at the end of the month. But I think the big question going forward is going to be, is putting that legislation on the books going to be enough to satisfy Trump, get Canada off this list, or would we need to fully pass those new changes targeting forced labor in order to get this tariff break?
Meanwhile, the Canada-U.S. trade minister just wrapped up talks in Washington. Where do things stand there? How did that all go?
Yeah, so Dominic LeBlanc's main message to his U.S. counterpart, Jamieson Greer, yesterday was that Canada would like to extend the CUSMA trade deal for another 16 years. So this is coming ahead of that July 1st deadline where all the countries need to decide if they want to embark on a review, basically go through the deal, make some changes. What Canada is saying is they think the deal is providing certainty and stability, and they would like to see it continue. So we'll see how the other countries respond to that. But LeBlanc was indicating he was positive about the meeting with Greer, indicating that he is optimistic that they could pursue a path towards a renewal versus a review, which would probably become a lot more protracted. But something I think that our audience should really key into here in terms of what the Canadian government is going for in these CUSMA negotiations is a deal on the smallest number of tariffs, on the most narrow basket of goods, and while allowing the widest Canadian market access. And that was something that was said by Canada's chief trade negotiator, Janice Golding, who was there with the minister yesterday. So for where things stand for now, it's kind of a wait and see. LeBlanc did indicate he will be speaking again with Greer sometime next week.
Rachel Aiello, live for us in Ottawa. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ottawa is calling on the CRTC to review a recent decision which could lead to Canadians paying more for streaming services, which has become a trade irritant for the U.S.
This has nothing to do with the U.S. threatening a tariff investigation.
It's no secret to anyone that's been paying any attention to this that the USTR has identified these issues as a trade issue. It would be disingenuous to suggest that this is the single issue. The reality is we're impatient to make sure that the sector stays vital. There's a real concern, and I don't want to underplay this, around affordability. We know that in countries where these types of decisions have taken place, that there are real impacts on production costs and potential increase in user fees, which are not insignificant for people that have many streaming services. So affordability is an important aspect of this that shouldn't be neglected in the discussion.
Last month, the CRTC announced large foreign streaming services would have to spend more of Canadian revenues on Canadian programming. The government says ultimately consumers would have been forced to pay those costs.
Turning now to the latest out of the Middle East, where the ceasefire between the U.S. and Iran is facing new tests.
Full-on fighting has not resumed, although each country has carried out a number of strikes, as the status of talks on a long-term deal remains unclear. Kuwait's Ministry of Foreign Affairs says one person was killed and at least 63 others injured after an Iranian attack targeted civilian sites across the country, including Kuwait International Airport. Meanwhile, Bahrain's military says its air defenses intercepted and destroyed 3 missiles and several drones on Wednesday. This comes as the U.S. military conducted what it calls self-defense strikes on Iran's Qeshm Island near the Strait of Hormuz, saying the operation was a response to attempted Iranian attacks across the region. Meanwhile, in Washington, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says he hopes an ongoing meeting between Lebanese and Israeli officials will help promote long-term peace. This comes as Israel carries out more deadly strikes in southern Lebanon, while Hezbollah militants in Lebanon say they fired rockets at troops in northern Israel, which were intercepted. Israel's ambassador to the U.S. shared this video of residents taking shelter, saying Israel had agreed to hold back on striking Lebanon's capital on the condition the Iranian-backed militants stopped attacking. He called today's actions a blatant violation of that understanding. U.S. President Donald Trump this week harshly criticized Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu as Tehran signaled the situation in Lebanon was holding up broader peace talks.
Looking south of the border, CBS is facing another high-profile departure as new leadership at 60 Minutes fires one of the show's most well-known correspondents. Scott Pelley's firing follows a fiery staff meeting Monday on the show's future. CBS dismissed Pelley after he openly challenged the competency of the show's new executive producer and the recent firing of other CBS staff. Pelley has accused new CBS News chief Barry Weiss of intentionally trying to kill the program to please the Trump administration. According to Variety, Weiss told employees an effort was made to engage with Pelley before his firing. He says that's not true. Biologists off the coast of Newfoundland are uncovering underwater secrets.
Now they're showing off their discoveries in Ottawa. CTV's Garrett Berry has the details.
See, for the first time,
these secrets of the sea.
For me, it's like watching a different movie every time the video and the camera comes up.
Hundreds of kilometers off the coast of Newfoundland and hundreds of meters underneath the surface, these ancient cold-water corals have never been seen before.
It's pitch black going through the water column for the longest time, and then all of a sudden this vibrant and textured landscape comes into view.
Until now.
You see something brand new that's never been seen before. It really gasses you up and keeps you going.
Isabelle Jubenville was on the Polar Prince for an expedition between Oceania, Canada and DFO. The team captured this footage using a drop camera system, bringing light to these mysterious and incredible creatures.
Because they grow so very slowly, they actually hold a record of geological history in their tissues. So, you know, different isotopes of elements that exist in different quantities over time, that's actually registered within the structure of the corals.
A living history book. And these are the building blocks of the ocean.
They give us an answer as to why the waters off Newfoundland and Labrador are so rich, why we have such a long history of commercial fishing, you know, almost 500 years, if not longer.
Now, researchers with Oceania are in Ottawa tonight to show off what they found at this southern Newfoundland slope, sharing this find and maybe highlighting what's out here, what might be worth further study and protection. Garrett Berry, CTV News, St. John's.
Well, here in the GTA, we are experiencing our driest stretch of weather since last September and October. And it looks like the streak is going to continue with another sunny afternoon today. Forecast high 29 degrees. That's above seasonal. Great evening for a patio. The good times roll into the evening hours. And tomorrow's going to be another hot and sunny day, too. But here's the thing. Change is inevitable. And as we make our way into the weekend, first we see an increase in cloud cover, and then we're going to get a bit of rain. So we'll talk about this, the timing of it all, and how much to expect on the other side of this break here on CTV News at noon. Stay with us.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
There is a buzz at the Royal Ontario Museum as it hosts a new exhibit taking people into the world of bees. CTV's Jessica Smith joins us now from the ROM. And Jess, what is this buzz all about?
Listen, I learned a lot of fun bee facts today, Nathan, and in Ontario, the GTA in general, there are about 350 species of bees. We're learning all the fun bee facts. We're here at the Royal Ontario Museum, and Antonia, I want to ask you, obviously we know how important bees are to everything in our day-to-day, but why bring an exhibit like this to the ROM and talk about bees?
Well, bees are very important to everything. Our food, pollinating our gardens. So we wanted to bring in an exhibit that helped people understand a little bit about bees. And this exhibit comes from the Liverpool Museum. The artist Wolfgang Buttress is one of the ones that developed this exhibit. And it combines art, the beauty of art, and science. So you get a little bit of what bees are, what do they do, why are they important, but also it allows you to experience what it's like to be a bee.
It is really cool, and there's so many fun interactive parts to this exhibition. And I learned today that Toronto has its own official bee. Tell me all about Toronto's bee.
The bicolored striped sweat bee is a beautiful green bee. There's a photo of it over here, and it is Toronto's official bee. It's a beautiful little bee that you can see on your flowers. In fact, I've seen a few of them this week already.
You're mentioning they were at Queen's Park, so we'll have to let Siobhan Morris know next time she's down there that there is an official bee. It is very interactive. Why did you want to bring that element in? Because there's parts where you can kind of use a little bit of technology to move around. You can touch things, smell things, listen to things.
Well, the artist wanted people to experience what it was like to be a bee. And by doing that, to care about bees. And if we care about bees and we work to protect them, then that's the goal of the exhibit, really, is for us to all be, you know,
be happy. Yeah, we gotta, don't worry, be happy. Well, this is here until October, so you have lots of time to come and see it. Antonia, thank you so much. I'm gonna go learn more about Toronto's bee, and I'll send things back inside to the studio. I feel like it's buzzing in there. You guys are probably gonna be talking about this for a while.
Oh, we're buzzing, yes, and it is a day to be outside because we have the sunshine. Thank you, ladies. We have the heat, but if you are going to be outside, you got to do sunscreen today. We were talking about that UV, and it is hot, so stay hydrated.
Yeah, it's a good reminder. In fact, I was thinking that seeing some kids walking outside, wondering where are your water bottles? Got to stay hydrated.
You're such a dad.
Yeah, I love it too. Yeah, an extra water bottle, a good idea today for the kids and for adults, especially if you're going to be taking part in any outdoor activities. It's not particularly humid, which I guess is perhaps a good thing because that can be what often makes it very uncomfortable outside at this time of year. But it is hot, core temperature-wise. We've got loads of sunshine once again, and we're going to enjoy this pattern for a little bit longer before change comes. Weather is brought to you by the Pressler Law Firm. Injury lawyers, you don't pay unless they win. Speaking of outdoor activities, we captured a few people out on Lake Ontario early this morning. That looks so lovely, of course, so peaceful early on in the day. Not too many waves and that sun shining, the lake sparkling. It is a day to be outside, be it for a walk, for a run. You'll find that early in the morning or perhaps later in the day is perhaps a better time to enjoy some of that outdoor activity because it's not quite as hot. Here's a look at where things stand right now on the satellite and radar. And the whole joke this week is that there really isn't much to show you here. We've got high pressure locked in place. Bit of active weather today for northwestern Ontario and the prairies where it's been very unsettled the last couple of days. This is going to take its time reaching us here in southern Ontario. The high pressure holds for a few more days, but heading into the day on Friday, that's when we really start to see a bit of an increase in cloud cover. It'll be a mix of sun and cloud for your Thursday tomorrow. Then here comes Friday, and depending on where you're joining us from, especially communities east of Georgian Bay, around the Bruce Peninsula, you could get some wet weather during the daytime hours on Friday. For us here in the GTA, it will be late day Friday or into the overnight, and then this is what we're waking up to Saturday morning. So likely a steadier round of rain, and then it'll be on and off wet weather throughout the day. It's looking mostly cloudy, and it is going to be a little cooler by the time we reach Saturday. Not so cool today. It is 27 degrees this hour at Pearson. 23 is our average temperature this time of year. About 32 degrees is the record for this day. Overnight tonight, we are seasonal and clear, 13 degrees for a low. Tomorrow, rinse and repeat, mix of sun and cloud, 29 degrees, humidex 30. Some communities are going to reach 30 tomorrow again. Looks like a beach day in Grand Bend. Georgina is looking hot. So too is Scugog. 30 degrees is what we're forecasting for your afternoon high for Thursday. Friday, still warm, 28 degrees. But then again, as mentioned over the weekend, slightly cooler conditions. It looks though we're going to rebound temperature-wise through the middle part of next week. That's the weather for now. Michelle, I'll send it over to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. Well, the school year is approaching its end across the country, and in Quebec, this was the first year where cell phones were completely banned during school hours.
CTV's Matt Gilmore has more on the lessons learned from taking cell phones out of the classroom.
Between classes at Royal West Academy, things feel and sound a little different.
It's really nice to see students talking to each other a lot more than they were in the past. That the cafeteria is a lot noisier, the halls are a lot noisier, and it's a good thing.
This year, cell phones were banned from schools across the province, inside the classroom and in the halls. Physics teacher Adam Wiltzer says for the first time since the pandemic, the school has a community feel again.
It was eerily quiet, like at lunch and at recess, and all the students were sitting wherever on their phones, doing, looking at social media or playing games on their phones. And now students are almost forced to interact with each other.
Students say they already feel like they're better at communicating.
Our generation kind of went through COVID right before we came to high school. So I think that it had a huge effect on it, and people were very used to being on their phones way too much.
School principal David Lee says he's noticed a change in the student body as well, but believes the province-wide ban could be more flexible.
We still want to teach our kids to be responsible users rather than just an outright ban. But for now, it is the ministry's guidelines, so we are implementing it.
Beyond the school atmosphere, researchers studying teen mental health have not seen a clear benefit.
A lot of young people were sort of relying on smartphones as a way of coping with isolation and bullying at school, which doesn't mean that the phones were a solution here, but they were a distraction in the context of social isolation.
Vincent Paquin says banning the phones without addressing isolation won't help improve mental health.
At the end of the day, we're trying to prepare young people for the transition out of school. And we want them to know how to deal with a phone that's constantly asking for their attention.
So a year later, is the ban working? In some ways, yes. But if the goal is to teach teens how to have a healthy relationship with technology, there's still work to do. Matt Gilmore, CTV News.
Still to come, the Tampa will be looking to extend their winning streak to 3 games against the New York Liberty tonight. We'll have a preview when we come back.
The Blue Jays are looking to snap a 3-game losing skid when they continue their series with the Atlanta Braves tonight.
Payoff pitch. And this one is hit high in deep right field. Acuna back at the track, turns at the wall. It's gone.
Last night, the Jays tied the game at 2 with a homer in the 2nd inning. However, the Braves took the lead with a homer of their own in the 6th and held on to win the game 4-3. Patrick Corbin is set to start for the Jays tonight. First pitch, 7:15 in Atlanta.
And the Tampa will be going for a 3rd straight win when they take on the New York Liberty tonight.
Saves it, finds Rice into the paint, kicks it out, Condé.
The team's coming off a 93-72 win over the Seattle Storm on Saturday. Tonight's game will mark Tempo head coach Sandy Brandello's first matchup against her old team. She coached the Liberty from 2022 to 2025. Tip-off for tonight's game is set for 7:30 in New York.
And the NBA Finals tip-off tonight with the San Antonio Spurs hosting the New York Knicks.
He's shooting one of these. You see his size up. There it is. And there it is.
The Spurs booking their ticket to the finals after beating the defending champ Oklahoma City Thunder in 7 games. Meantime, the Knicks swept the Cleveland Cavaliers and are currently riding an 11-game playoff winning streak. Tip-off for tonight's game, 8:30 p.m. Well, students from the Waterloo Region District School Board's Alternative Continuum of Education program hit the gridiron this week.
They ran through drills alongside the Wilfrid Laurier University football team as part of an initiative aimed at connecting communities. CTV's Colton Weens has the story.
Barreling through a line of defenders and diving into the end zone, it's a day that Jensen Bitna has been waiting for all year. Bitna is a student in the Alternative Continuum of Education program at Jacob Hespeler Secondary School and says he's been working on his football moves just for today.
I was running and then go on the hula hoops and then go around and I touch the mat and then, woo!
The day has become a bit of an annual tradition at the high school in Cambridge, a partnership with the Lighthouse Adult Day program, bringing together students from the ACE program and players from the Wilfrid Laurier University football team.
I'm very big on trying to help out anybody else who needs it. Just as a whole, just be a part of, you know, other people and other things that are going on. So it's very important to me just to help.
We just love this partnership, right? And so being able to not only work with the Lighthouse every year, but now start to work with some of the ACE programs in the high schools and make sure that we can help and contribute and these guys can come out and have some fun together.
And while they did this last year with Jacob Hespeler students, this year they expanded the program to include Waterloo Oxford students all in the day.
We've been going individually to each school and we thought it was a lot easier just to have them all come together. And it's a bit more community building too to have them all come together.
Around a dozen students from Waterloo Oxford Secondary School and 20 from Jacob Hespeler took part in different football drills, and kids from Jacob Hespeler's leadership class and the school's football team also took part. What's your favorite part?
Running into him.
Well, it's been fun. It's good for them to get out here. They're having a great time, and they're having fun jumping on the mats and stuff, and yeah, it's just a good day.
Go Golden Hawks, and you know, like, just everybody stay involved in your community, help out in any way you can, because it'll really help, so yeah.
Colton Weens, CTV News, Cambridge.
Still to come on CTV News at noon, the GTA's real estate market saw a rebound in May. We'll take a closer look at the numbers when we come back. Lawyers and insurance providers are raising concerns about changes coming to auto insurance here in Ontario.
The province says it's all about lowering costs for drivers and giving them more choice, but experts say opting out of some coverage creates major risks. CTV's Siobhan Morris has the story.
With plenty of vehicles on the road and rush hour congestion at heightened levels, run-ins and accidents in the capital are very possible.
Yeah, I got rear-ended.
Auto insurance is mandatory for any vehicle owner, but come July 1st, rules and options are about to change.
What is the risk?
That's the big question, and lawyers and insurance brokers don't want you to get caught off guard.
The income replacement is the biggest thing that's going to become optional. Now it's a staple on your policy, and you have to purchase income replacement going forward. So if your policy renews with it, then if you take it away, there could be some savings there. But the savings, the risk will outweigh the savings.
In addition to income replacement, big-ticket insurance items like death benefits, damage to personal items will also become optional amongst a number of other things. And while the driver may save a few dollars a month, it leaves a level of vulnerability that even cycling advocates are uncomfortable with.
Yes, it's something that is very significant for cyclists in this province. So before July 1st, 2026, any cyclist that was involved in a motor vehicle accident, say they were struck by a vehicle, can access a policy of insurance to access accident benefits. Now, the people who can access benefits will be reduced with the changes.
So if the cyclist, for example, doesn't have their own auto insurance and had a run-in with a car, they may not be able to access a driver's insurance and could be spending months in the court system after filing a lawsuit. Even then, some drivers who have filed claims say coverage can be tricky when insurance providers deny it anyway, leaving them to question if the risk may be worth the monthly reward of saving several dollars.
So you need to pay the insurance because you have to. But do the insurance actually respond, when you need it?
Siobhan Morris, CTV News, Ottawa.
The GTA's real estate market saw a rebound in May, marking 3 straight months with higher home sales. More than 6,500 homes changed hands last month, an increase of 6.3% compared to a year ago. However, the average selling price was down roughly 4.5%. The Toronto Regional Real Estate Board says selling prices could still rise this year if sales continue to be strong, but says buyers currently have substantial negotiating power.
Certainly, if you're looking in most segments of the GTA resale market, in most neighborhoods, you're still going to have some negotiating power with prospective sellers. But at the same time, we have seen market conditions tighten up a little bit. And so I think looking forward, both to the second half of 2026, but also into 2027, I think that does suggest that, all else being equal, we could start to see a little bit of upward pressure on pricing over the next year or so.
New listings fell by nearly 18% year over year.
Well, nearly 100 years after its founding, Zellers is back again. The new owners of Zellers will soon relaunch the brand in Ontario. A new discount storefront is set to open near Yorkdale Shopping Centre June 18th, while another will open at Windsor's Tecumseh Mall in July. The Ontario stores will also sell snack foods and toys. The Bonita family bought the rights to the Zellers name last year. The family is also behind apparel stores Fairweather and International Clothiers.
The music and entertainment worlds are mourning the death of R&B singer Peabo Bryson, perhaps best known for his duets with Roberta Flack and beloved Disney classics. Bryson teamed up with Celine Dion on Beauty and the Beast and with Regina Bell on A Whole New World from Aladdin. Both tracks winning Grammys, but they followed a decades-long career of hits, including Tonight I Celebrate My Love with Roberta Flack. Bryson's family says he died this week at age 75 of a stroke. And Celine Dion was among those remembering Bryson today, sharing a photo of them together and writing in part, "He was so wonderful and generous to me all those years ago when we recorded Beauty and the Beast. He made me so comfortable as I was just learning to sing in English. He will remain for me always a real symbol of the joy that music has brought to my life. His voice and his talent will be missed."
Coming up, Luminato Festival Toronto returns. We'll have more on the annual Summer Celebration of Art when we come back. Luminato Festival Toronto is returning for another year. The annual Summer Arts Fest features Canadian and international artists. The theme of this year's festival is play. The 26-day event features more than 50 free and ticketed events with 140 performances at more than 25 locations across the city. The festival runs until June 28th.
All right, we're getting there, and I noticed one of the artists had a hat on, sunglasses, hopefully wearing sunblock. We're going to need all that stuff.
You need all the things.
It's festival season, which makes the forecast so important at this time of year. And I truly wish that it was like a weekend day today, because today is perfect for spending some time outside. This weekend might look and feel a little different. But first, let's talk about tonight. Overnight low, seasonal, 13 degrees with a few clouds here and there. Tomorrow morning, great opportunity to get in a round of golf. No concerns about rain, and temperatures will be a little cooler in the morning compared to the afternoon. We're forecasting a daytime high of 29 degrees. Some communities are going to hit 30, and it is hot until the weekend. Then we get some cloud cover late Friday, showers through Saturday, and will be a little cooler as well on Sunday. Nathan and Michelle.
All right, thanks, Lindsay. And that's it for CTV News at noon. Remember, you can get Toronto's breaking news all day long on CP24 and at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Lindsay Morrison and all of us here, have a pleasant afternoon. I'm Michelle Dubé.
And I'm Nathan Downer. Be sure to join us later for CTV News at 5 and 6.